Conversations on my YouTube channel. Nice to see you guys. As you can see, we have a guest with us this week. This is Talia. She's going to introduce herself so you get to know her a little better. And tell us who Talia is.
Okay, first of all, happy Mother's Day to Patrice.
Thank you.
Happy Mother's Day
guys.
Happy Mother's Day to all the women who are watching. I'm a mommy, but I'm a doggy mommy, so that's a whole different story. But my name is Natalia Harriman. I am an entrepreneur. I am a manager of a hardware store. I am a trained journalist who has a BA in journalism, and I am an all-round woman who has seen a lot.
Yes, hence my decision to use her for my guest this week of Life Choices. Alright, so as we said last week, we're going to be talking about life choices this week and how simple choices can affect the entirety of your life, or the longevity of your life, or just the short term of your life. And things that end up having to endure. So I made a couple notes that I just want to mention to, and we're going to jump right in. Life choices, it's much bigger than just you, especially as a parent, or anybody who is connected to a family unit or a partner, or once you have other persons attached to you, then everything you do has ripple effects and repercussions. So every decision, speaking from a parent's perspective, a mother's perspective especially, every decision from the moment of conception has to be about yourself, the child, and the members of the family dynamic. Or if you are a single person, you still have to, your choices still affect the persons who are connected to you, whether they be friends or family members or even just your dog.
Oh yeah.
So, every choice has a ripple effect, consequences, whether they be good or bad, that you have to live with. So weighing those choices carefully makes a huge difference, and that's something I want to talk about this week, because I think it's interwoven to the lives that a lot of us end up living. A lot of us end up living out the consequences of choices of our parents that we really had nothing to do with, and because of their choices it affected the entire trajectory of our lives, and then we had to be struggling with the consequences of their choices. So when you get to that age where you are now the decision maker, you have to be mindful of how your choices then affect others and yourself. So tell us, I'm going to start from, what are some of the choices that your parents, mother, made that you have had to contend with and that has affected your life?
Okay, so in 2000, my mom decided that she was going to move back in with her elderly mother. My grandmother was not the nicest person, and I grew up kind of like an only child, but I wasn't really the only child. I was the last one. So I was a baby who was always attached to mom, and I always would like her defender, especially when it came on to her mother, because her mother would be mean to her and she just couldn't express herself as if she was with a stranger. So I moved in with my grandmother also.
How old were you at the time?
At the time I was 21. Yeah, I was 21. I was already living with my boyfriend like 3 months in, and he kept saying to me, don't do it, don't make the move. But I figured I needed to be there for my mother, so I made a choice and I moved.
So are you aware of what made her decide to move back in with her mother?
I figure it's just responsibility. I figure there were three of them. My mom was the youngest, and she felt that her mother in her early 80s, living alone, needed someone to take care of her. Now the consequence out of that was when my mom died, I felt a sense of responsibility, and I decided, okay, at that time, the family kind of multiplied. Because I ended up with my grandmother and my grandma, both elderly, living together in the same house as me.
How old were you at that time?
At that time, I was 26 when my mom died.
Okay, so the span between 21 and 26, what was that like?
To be honest, we tried to make the best of our situation, but there were too many times when my mom always talked about having her own house. Because I could see that there were times where she really wanted to escape what was going on with her mom. And then there were situations where I had to put up with some things with my grandmother, and I could not lash out at her because I was raised better than really cussing out my grandmother. I couldn't do that, but sometimes my grandmother did some things that you kind of cross your mind like, this lady means a good cussing.
Yeah.
But I was raised better than that to do that, to respect my elders. So
what made you decide at 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, what made you decide not to move on?
Again, I think I was scared to go on my own, for one. And then two, I still wanted to protect my mother.
So you said scared to go out on your own because you said before that you were living with your boyfriend, so had that relationship ended?
That relationship went on hiatus because my boyfriend went abroad, I was here.
Okay.
He was
so
away.
If you did leave, you would have been moving out alone.
Exactly.
Okay, understand.
And to be honest, I wasn't working at the time. And you're going to make the decision. I was looking at a job, but to make the decision to say yes, you're going to move.
Right. So with all the options that were available, all the facts that were available, the best decision for you at that time was to stay.
Yes, it was.
And your mom died at 26.
When I was 26. Okay. Right. And then, as you mentioned before, you were talking about faith.
Right.
I didn't believe in going out on faith until after my mom died. I must say, I got in a period of where I basically had nothing to live for, so I kind of got really fearless.
Right.
And with my fearlessness, I started taking bigger chances. And a lot of times I would sit and think about something. I said, I want to do this, and I convinced myself this is what I'm going to do. And I had no idea how I was going to go about doing it. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to jump off the edge. Jesus sketch me.
Yep.
And I must say that every time I did it, I had scripts and scrapes sometimes, but I was never totally injured. I was always caught. So then I became a firm believer that sometimes you need to have faith in your inner voice more than anything else. Beyond the naysayers, because in all of our circles, we're going to have some friends. And guys, let me tell you this, whether it be family, friends, or acquaintances, if every time you go to these people and you suggest something that you want to do, you want to achieve, you want to develop, and they feel the need to constantly pick apart at your idea or your dream and give you 3 million reasons why it cannot work, that is not someone who's on your side.
Also, I think it leads back to their own fears.
It does.
It does. It leads back to their own fears. Because somebody can only advise you as far as they have gone.
Not really.
Yeah, because if they aren't sure, and it goes back to faith. If they don't have the faith that, alright, fine, it's not something we've seen before, it's not something we've done before, it's not something we have any reference for, but let's get equipped, let's do it, it can be done.
On the flip side of that, you have some people where it's not that they're unable to advise you from the place of not being there. they don't want to advise you because they want to secure their place in the social circle.
Above their need for you.
Right. So remember,
your need for them.
So you have a social circle, whether it be family, the hierarchy of the family, or the social circle as your friends. You have some people who don't want somebody else to rise above them.
Right.
So because they don't want them to rise above you to rise above them, they will tell you, they will always tear it down because they need to be the smartest one in the room.
Yeah, and it goes back to that inner voice, because we all have that inner voice, or we always call our intuition or gut feeling, which is really just the Holy Spirit talking to us. When we ask for it, because usually we say, all right, I decide that I'm going to do this, what should I do? You may not say it out loud, you may not say it to anybody else, but you have that internal conversation. And he's hearing that, and he's going to respond. So that little urge unction you get inside is that voice telling you, yeah, go ahead. Or you get the opposite. No, not with that person, not that direction, whatever. And we either go against it or we go with it. If we go against it, then we usually end up in problems. So most times I learned the hard way. When you go against it, you end up in problems. So it's best to just go with it.
Okay, the other recording device just went haywire, so that's the distraction.
Yeah. But those are a few of them. So I'm going to give a few explanations of my life choices that have sent you way off, or dealing with long-term situation that you really didn't have to had you just been obedient. I would say when I was younger, I had the opportunity to go away. I did. I went away for a while, and I came back because my daughter wasn't dealing with the distance very well. Initially, the intent was just to come back for a short period of time and then go again, because there were several opportunities waiting for me. I came back and allowed myself to get stalled in the
process of
the hustle and just life of what was taking place.
What was his name?
Here, no, it wasn't a man. Praise Jesus. It was just the family dynamics and the putting my daughter's needs first. In hindsight, I think had I taken that risk, taken her with me, things would have been very different, and we would have been in a very different position. But then I look at the flip side and I say, well, had I gone, I would have had my son, and no, not this child that's on the way. So, again, there is always the consequences of things that we have to live with, but the blessings I see are my kids. My kids are always the blessings of anything that I have to go through or endure or stay in too long are always my kids.
Okay.
The blessing. They're worth the effort. So that's just a few of the things. This might be a very long video, so we might have to have a part 2. So next week we'll continue. We'd love for you guys to send in your situations, your stories, give us some ideas of some stuff, that choices that you have made, whether you took too long to make the choice, or you should make the wrong choice, or you made the right choice, and how it went, and tell us how that worked for you so we can discuss them next week. But if you have questions that you want to ask, go ahead and put them in the comments and we'll address them. Thank you so much for joining us on Purple Conversations this week. I am Patrice Piani.
I'm Natalia Harman.
Thank you.
Thanks.
See you next week, guys.
Bye.